You found your way here. That means you were ready for something real. My name is not important. What I have for you is. Still waters run deep. So let's go beneath the surface. He had been standing on the same corner for 11 years. Same cracked stretch of sidewalk. Same busted street lights flickering when it felt like it. Same corner store with the faded cigarette signs in the window and the owner who act like he never saw nothing, even though he saw everything. 11 years. Long enough to watch little boys turn into shooters. Long enough to watch little girls with soft faces harden into women who no longer have smiles in their eyes. Long enough to know which houses had old money in them, and which ones had grief in them, and which ones had both. On the west side, people like to say the block made the man, but the truth was uglier than that. Sometimes, the block just took whatever man you used to be and replaced them with whoever it needed. His name was Marcel Tate, but on that side of town, almost nobody called him Marcel. To them, he was just Cell. Cell held work. Cell knew faces. Cell kept order when young dudes got too emotional. Cell was the one older heads trusted and the little homies feared just enough to listen to him. And for a long time, that was enough. Not because it made him happy, because it made him necessary. There's a difference. A man can live a long time off being necessary. Longer than he can live off being loved. By 37, Cell had learned how to survive without asking for too much. He didn't dream out loud, didn't post quotes about change. He didn't talk about starting over like the world owed him a clean slate just because he got tired. He just moved how he moved. Quiet, careful, measured. But somewhere over the last year, something in him shifted. Maybe it was seeing his mother get smaller every time he visited her. Maybe it was the look his daughter gave him the last time she asked where he worked, and he realized she was old enough now to hear the lie in his answer. Maybe it was watching boys half his age die over corners they didn't own. Or maybe he was just tired. Tired in that deep way. That kind of tired that sleep can't fix. So one Thursday night, with cold wind sliding between the houses and the whole block carrying that strange silence that comes right before something bad, Cell made a decision. He was out, not loud, not dramatic, no speech, no sermon, no crying in the mirror. He was just done. He told himself he'd finish off the week clean. Square up what needed squaring, hand off what needed handing off, keep it simple, walk away, no sudden movements. He knew better than to think the streets would respect honesty, but he hoped they might respect usefulness. That was his first mistake. Around 10:15, Rico pulled up. Black Charger, dark tinted windows, music low. Rico was 26, and he carried himself like the city was built for him personally. Gold chain, sharp beard, eyes that never stopped moving. He was smart in the way dangerous men often are. Never confused, just reckless enough to think that being feared is the same as being safe. He stepped out of the car and looked at Sel like he already knew something. "Word is, you trying to fade out," he said. Sel didn't answer right away. Sometimes silence tells a man more than words can. Rico smirked. "So it's true." Sel looked down the block. "I've been out here a long time." "That ain't what I said." Sel turned back to him. "Then say what you came to say." Rico took a few steps closer. "You don't just leave a corner like this. Not after all this time. You know too much. People know your face. People trust your routine." Sel gave a short laugh, but there wasn't no humor in it. "Routine? That's what you call this?" "I call it business." "No," Sel said. "You call it yours. That's the difference." That landed. You could see it in Rico's jaw. See, the younger ones always hated when the older ones reminded them how temporary power really was. Rico leaned in a little. "Let me help you out. Ain't nobody mad you tired, but tired don't mean free." Sel stared at him for a little second. Then he said one thing that made the whole air change. "I wasn't asking, nigga." Now the silence got heavier. Not empty, heavy. The kind that presses down on your chest. A train had sounded somewhere far off. A dog barked behind the fence. The store owner killed half the lights inside and disappeared into the back like he wanted no parts of what was about to go down in front of his establishment. Rico smiled then. That kind of smile with no warmth in it. "See, that's the problem with you old heads," he said. "Y'all start thinking survival means status. It don't. It just means you ain't get caught yet." Sel didn't move, didn't reach, didn't posture. And maybe that was what made him dangerous. He wasn't trying to prove he had violence in him. Men like Rico still needed to advertise it. Sel had lived long enough to know violence never improved with an audience. "I gave this block years," Sel said quietly. "Years I can't get back. I miss funerals, miss birthdays, miss the daughter turning into somebody I barely know. So if you came here for permission to threaten me, save it." Rico's eyes narrowed. "You think this about feelings?" "No," Sel said. "I think this about fear. Yours." That did it. Rico stepped back and laughed, louder now, like he needed the street itself to hear it. Then he nodded towards the car. Two more young dudes got out. Neither one looked older than 22. Both of them trying hard to wear that same dead-eyed look the city teaches boys when it wants them to feel like men. Sel saw one of them and felt something cold move through him. Little Darren. He used to come to the corner store with his grandmother when he was about 10. Used to buy honey buns and fruit punch. Used to ask Sel dumb little kid questions and laugh like life had not taught him nothing yet. Now here he was, with a pistol buried in his hoodie pocket and a face trying too hard to look empty. That was the real heartbreak of the neighborhood. Not that boys died, it was how early they started rehearsing for it. Sel looked right at Darren. "You still got time," he said. Darren blinked. "For what?" "To not become what they need you to become." Rico snapped his fingers. "Nah, don't do that. Don't get wise now." But it was too late. For 1 second, Darren looked exactly his age. Young, unsure, human. Then Rico saw it too and stepped in harder. "You want to leave?" Rico said to Sel. "Fine. But you don't walk off with your name intact. That ain't how this go." Sel nodded slowly, like something had finally become clear. All this time, he thought the corner belonged to men who earned it. But it didn't. It belonged to hunger, and hunger never let go gracefully. So he took one step off the curb, then another, not running, not reaching, just moving. Rico's voice sharpened. "Sel! Sel! Keep walking." The street seemed to hold its breath. Then came the sound. One shot, loud enough to split the block in half. Birds flew up from a nearby wire. Somewhere, a woman screamed from inside a house. Tires screeched 2 streets over, like trouble had sent out a signal, and the whole neighborhood heard it. Sel stumbled, then caught himself against a parked car. The bullet had gone clean through the meat of his shoulder, spinning him more than dropping him. Pain hit late and hard, hot, bright, ugly. But he stayed up. That was the part nobody expected. He stayed up. Rico froze for a half a second. Darren looked sick. And Sel, bleeding through his jacket, breath ragged now, and hand pressed hard on his shoulder, turned around and looked at all 3 of them. Not angry. That's the strange part. Not angry. Just disappointed, in a way deeper than anger. "You had to do it like that?" he asked. Nobody answered. The whole block looked different now. Smaller, sadder, like the truth had finally stepped outside and everybody hated how it looked under the light. Sel nodded once, as if confirming something to himself. Then he said low and steady, "That corner was never mine, but it ain't yours either." And with that, he kept walking. One step, then another. Blood trailing down his sleeve. Not fast, not dramatic, just gone. By the time Rico barked for somebody to move, for somebody to stop him, for somebody to do something, the moment had already passed. Because some things can't be undone once the street sees them. And what the streets had just seen was a man walk away anyway. Not untouched, not clean, not victorious, but anyway. Later that night, people would tell the story differently. Some would say Rico let him go. Some would say Sel had a gun and thought better of using it. Some would say he folded. Some would say he stood tall. The neighborhood always edits the truth until it sounds easier to live with. But little Darren will remember it exactly how it happened. He would remember the look on Sel's face. Not fear, not rage, Just the look of a man finally understanding that if a place only loves what you can do for it, then leaving is the closest thing to dignity you ever gonna get. 2 weeks later, the corner belonged to somebody else. 3 months later, Rico was dead in a car he didn't own. And almost a year after that, Darren saw a man at a gas station across town with his arm scarred real bad and his beard cut lower than he remembered. The man was older, quieter, pumping regular unleaded into a silver work van with a company logo on the side. He looked over, saw Darren, and just for a second, neither of them said anything. Then Sel gave him one small nod. Not like an old friend, not like a warning, like a man handing another man a choice. Darren never forgot it. Because sometimes the loudest thing a man can do is leave. And sometimes the deepest water is the kind that look the calmest from the streets. Still waters run deep